Let's talk
about our hopes and dreams, beyond the reach it seems.
Let's talk.
Confess I live in hell, I failed to fall in scheme. Maybe we can find a pathway forward or a clue. So we may together be a symbiotic harmony, where I can talk to you, you can talk to me.
Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk.
Welcome to the first in a series of monthly programs of the Talk Vermont. I'm Reverend Arnold Isidore Thomas, and I serve as the moderator of the talk. I am pleased to be joined by students at Randolph Union High School, one who, for various reasons, are members of marginalized communities of color. And what I mean by that is that for whatever reason, for various reasons, they are singled out, victimized, and targeted because of being different. And so we want to allow them to share what it's like to be a marginalized student here at Randolph Union High School in Randolph, Vermont. What it's like to be a marginalized student in basically what is one of the whitest states in the Union. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves and introduce how they identify and whatever else they wish to share about themselves. Starting with Xavier.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Xavier Bass, and my pronouns go by he, him, and I am a Black African American. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kenneth Bronze, and I am mixed, Black and white.
Connor?
I am Connor. I am a trans and queer man.
That's fine. Who is that?
I'm Marissa Tarian, and I go by she, her.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to ask you several questions. Again, if those questions are a bit too intimidating and you wish to not answer, feel free to do so. But I think you've had most of the questions given to you, and so you're somewhat prepared. So my first question is, can you recall the time when you first discovered you were different from everyone else? How did you feel? And how did you respond to that awareness? Anyone?
Well, I would like to start off with that question with, I was in this school and other schools, and all of the other schools that I was in, I was mainly the Black person in the school, and I didn't feel welcome in the other schools because of my identity and my religion. And that's why I moved schools. I've moved school for like 4 times right now. I've lived in Winooski, Burlington, Randolph, a lot of schools that I've been moving to. And then this one, I don't actually feel welcome sometimes because I am living in a mainly white state right now. And now I feel like I have to change and make other people's mind think that other Blacks or other marginalized groups feel welcome and feel like they are being heard and stuff like that.
So there's a sense that you have a purpose in this predominantly white setting.
Yes, I do. And it just feels what I'm doing now, it feels exciting to present myself and have other people know what I'm doing and what I'm presenting here for.
Mhm. Thank you, Xavier. Others?
I guess I'll go. When I first discovered that I was trans and queer, I feel like there was a sense of denial at first because I was raised in a very conservative, I didn't really know what being queer was, so I think there was a sense of fear and wanting to hide it since I was raised to think that it was different or odd or not the same as being straight. So for a while in my my journey as a queer person, I guess, there was a sense of needing to hide myself from the fact that I was queer and not be open about it, not tell people about it because I was afraid that I was going to be rejected. But I feel as though I've grown out of that and I'm a bit more proud of the person that I am today.
Connor, can you explain a bit, because I'm sure the viewers may have some difficulty trying to understand, what does it mean to be trans and queer?
So I am transgender, which means I was, the sex I was assigned at birth is female, and I transitioned into a male gender. So I'm just not the gender that I was when I was born. So that's what transgender is, and I'm also gay. I'm in a loving relationship with my boyfriend.
When I was growing up, the term black was often used pejoratively, negatively, and eventually the movement of black power and black awareness grew to accept and appreciate what was commonly referred to a negative way in a positive way. And so that's my way of saying that when I was growing up, queer was often seen negatively.
Yeah.
So you've actually affirmed that.
Yes, the queer community has been trying for years and years to reclaim that because it's not a negative thing. It's just a description of a group of people. And it was changed to be a negative thing by people who discriminated against queer people.
Thank you, Connor.
Yeah.
Others? Marissa or Ken?
I was just always growing up with my mom. She's always told me you got both. You got black and white in you. You don't have to go in there acting a certain way or try to show off for people. Just be yourself. Don't be trying to do too much. And kind of seeing that, it's just, I don't really know. It's just, what was I trying to say? I don't know. She just told me not to be out there, just be yourself and just not try to make a scene and everything like that. I'm trying to get what I'm trying to say, but I can't really find it.
Yeah. And if you will, Ken, I imagine there are circumstances in which you might pass for white.
Yeah, I get that.
How do you deal with that sort of confusion that?
I just tell them, nah, my parents are black, my dad's black, my mom's mixed, and then I tell them I'm mixed, black and white. I got both of it in me. So that's.
Thank you, Ken. How about you, Marissa?
What was the question again?
Was there a time when you can recall that you were different from everyone else, and how did you deal with that discovery? Now, I should also add that difference is great. People are different for all sorts of reasons: hair color, I don't know, for all sorts of reasons. But in this way, in this context, we're referring to differences that you discovered about yourself that, in many cases, are harmful for you as far as others' perception of you. How did you deal with that awareness?
So I was like brought up in DCF custody, and I was like kind of in and out of it my whole life. And I was adopted by a family a couple years ago, but mostly like when kids found out in school and stuff, they always kind of thought I was like different, I guess, because I just didn't like live with like my bio mom and just never had like a good relationship. So like a lot of kids would just like ask me a lot of questions a lot of the times and kind of like pick on me for like not having like my parents and stuff. So yeah.
Do you know your biological parents?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So you've had some connection with them.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you find that sense of affirmation about who you are that allowed you to live with the reality of who you are?
Well, I think by the time I got to high school, I kind of just stopped worrying about it so much and what other people think, because it's not really their job to worry about my life and where I'm living and stuff. So I just kind of pushed it out of the way and just thought what's happening to me and where I am at the moment is better than where I was from when I was born and stuff, and the environment that I was growing up in. So I just appreciated where I was now and all the people that stood by me and supported me and loved me throughout what I went through. And yeah.
Thank you, Marissa.
Yeah.
You mentioned DCF.
Yeah.
What does that stand for?
Child Protective Services. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Just in case people are wondering. What would each of you say, and I think you mentioned it to some extent, to individuals who, for religious or cultural reasons, feel you are not normal and believe that you should change? What would you say to them?
I mean, as Kenneth said, for his mom, I mean, you don't have to show off to be the best person you want to be. You can be whoever you want to be, and that doesn't change who you are. If you want to be the person, whoever you think that you want, then your dreams can come true. And I believe in a lot of people that when they realize they can change, I guess, personalities or friends or other things, I believe that people have the connection within them to change everything. I mean, anyone can do it. I mean, I'm doing a lot of things in racial justice. I'm changing how, not just me, but my classmates are changing how we think the way of the school things. You know, how a lot of stuff has happened at Randolph, and we are reflecting on why and how that happened, but then we're changing that and we're making it more powerful and kind of explaining to the world like it's a bad thing that this happened, but then we are trying to improve ourselves and improve the school, how we can be better. And I'm speaking for myself because I felt like I haven't changed anything in my life, well, when I was younger, but when I got into high school and I got into this class and I got to see other friends and other things, I started to realize, people started to realize that, like, oh, he's a nice person. He's changing. He has so much emotion. He has excitement. He has no fear in his eyes. He has everything that he wants. And that is kind of actually correct because I like changing who I am and who I was. And that happens in life.
Yes, thank you.
No problem.
Others?
I guess I can go next. I feel as though when I'm faced with people who don't agree with my identities, in my case, there's not really much I can do about it. I can, explain like my journey and what helped me to realize who I am and why I identify the way that I do. But really, I try and make them understand that I am also a person, and just because I am not the gender that I was assigned at birth, and that I'm romantically attracted to the same gender that I identify as, it doesn't make me any less of a person. Like, I still, deserve to be like heard and to have rights and, to be able to live my life as free as anyone else should be able to. And I feel like I will not try to like change their beliefs, but I will try to like enlighten them, help them like sort of understand more where I'm coming from. Because I know in a lot of cases, people who discriminate against minorities, it's coming from a place of fear and not understanding the person, because not understanding something is a very scary thing. So I just try and like help them like through that, because I know that they're probably like good people. They just are under a misconception.
Thank you, Connor.
Yeah.
Other thoughts? Marissa, Ken?
I'd say, like, say someone asked me about my race, they'll be like, what you is, you black, white? I tell them, sometimes people will make fun of it and just try to laugh it off. I think it's cool, but I'll be like, dang, I can't do nothing about it. It's just laugh it off with them. Be like, just can't do much about it.
Yeah. Marissa, any thoughts on that? How do you respond to individuals who feel you're not normal and that you should change?
I mean, I don't really have this response. I kind of just do my own thing and push past it, and people can just think whatever and stuff. But, because they are who they are, and I can't really change their views on anything if they don't want their views to be changed, so.
Yeah. Well, the reason for this interview is partly because living in one of the whitest states in the Union, there's always this presumption that people have about others because they're not part of their network of friendships, their community in which they're familiar with. And so in some ways, you are very courageous. Each of you are very courageous in placing yourself in this environment and providing opportunities for people to hear from individuals who are not part of the normal community that people usually interact with. And you have a means of educating them when a different perspective is needed, so that stereotypes and these preconceptions are not ruling the day and ruling their mindset. So I appreciate your being here. Is there a group or individuals you can turn to when no one else seems to understand what you're going through, when no one else seems to identify with your experience? Where do you turn?
I can go
Connor.
first on this one. I definitely feel like I do have a group. My friend group, I'm very grateful for all of them. I think they're all wonderful people, and I'm so happy that they have my back. They're always there for me. I feel even when I'm struggling with a number of things, they still stick with me, and I really appreciate it. But other than my friend group, I feel as though in my life, there's not many support groups that I can go to. I feel like they're either targeted towards people that I don't align with, or there's just not a group that I feel as though I can go to. But that makes me even more thankful for my friends because they're there for me.
So as far as you're concerned, there aren't in this state affinity groups of other trans persons that you can now and then find some relief and at least knowing that you're in a community of people who understand or have the similar experience?
There is a few organizations out there that do that stuff, but I feel like they're usually targeted towards people who are younger than me, like underclassmen, middle schoolers, that kind of age range, and they don't really tackle the things that I feel are important to me as someone who's graduating and is going to be in college and out in the greater world. I feel like there's just like not a group that I know of that is like fully there to help me through those things, especially as a queer person. I know that doing all of that stuff is it comes with its challenges.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Marissa, Ken.
I turn to myself sometimes, my mom, parents, family members. Just try to figure it out, just think on it, and just just think on it mainly. That's all. Just try to figure it out myself. Or I can't really do much about it.
So that support network beyond your family is not as strong as you would like.
Yes, sir. Yes.
How about you, Marissa?
I usually go to my sister Sharon, and I always just go to her for anything and everything. So whenever I'm struggling and need support from someone, I always turn to her because I can know I can count on her. So yeah.
Is there anything about this educational environment, the curriculum, the teachers, that in any way reflect and affirm who you are, that you can relate to, or is this educational environment somewhat different? For instance, let me give you an example. Again, when I was growing up, there was very little offered in the area of Black history. Now and then there would be a Black History Month in which the focus would be on Black history, and that usually dealt with slavery and not anything else. Sometimes it might even deal with the civil rights movement, but there was little known outside of that. Do you see anything as far as what you study here that reflects on who you are and what you feel and that sort of thing?
Good question. For me, as a Black African American, I'm gonna say no. There aren't any teachers in this school that help with me and other things, because I have a couple reasons actually, because of one, we don't have actually any black teachers in the school at all that are educating any racism or slavery or stuff like that happens in the past, and it's still happening now. And we don't have any teachers that are doing that here, which is actually very upsetting, because I thought, and I would thought of, that this school would have, let's see, like a good community place where everyone can be themselves and everyone can get along. And
some sort of program like they do like all the other ones.
yeah,
I'm sorry, Ken, I didn't quite hear you.
Just like a program like they do like all the other programs, right? Cool like that.
yeah, and then like it's very sad and upsetting to see a school where you have black individuals themselves that have stories and what they want to share and what they feel, but they can't explain or have others around them, like teachers or friends. They don't have that in the school, and I don't know why, but they don't. But what I would definitely like in the school is to have definitely black individuals teaching about racism and teaching about other white students in this school, and because of incidents that have happened in the past, and to other marginalized groups that have been racially motivated or just been insulted. It's just horrifying to see this school not helping any other people that want to be heard, like marginalized groups, black, LGBTQ, and other people with ethnicities. It's just sad sometimes to look at the school and just realize, oh wow, they haven't done anything about this.
This may be a bit removed from the questions you received earlier, but has there been an incident here at Randolph Union High School where a person or a group of individuals were clearly targeted and harassed because they were different? Connor.
I can
Yeah.
speak on this. We had a few years ago, there was a huge incident on one of the sports teams, our volleyball team, where a trans girl was singled out by another one of the team members for being in the locker room. It went on national news. It got way huger than it should have. And during that time, speaking from experience, because I was out at the time, I was very open about my sexuality and my gender identity. Being at this school while that was happening was incredibly unsafe for queer people. I remember some days waking up and just not wanting to go to school because I was like afraid of like what people were gonna say to me that day. We got so many threats, like we got bomb threats for how it was handled. Our school website was hacked and multiple slurs were written on it, and like LGBTQ hate speech was written on it. And it was just poorly handled from the administration's point of view. Very poorly handled, and it affected the school very negatively that year. That year was very hard for many people. It was not a safe environment.
How has the school since then addressed that matter? Or has it?
They pretty much haven't. The only places that it was addressed were like in the student body. Like there was basically nothing done about it by like teachers or staff or the administration. There was like no support shown for the queer people who were suffering from it. And it was just a really hard year for those people because none of the administration did pretty much anything about it after the fact. So it really just like, it felt like they brushed it off, like they tried to dismiss it.
They mostly like ignored it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Maurice, what you said?
They like ignored it and never like dealt with the situation properly like they should have.
Yeah, they really ignored it, and even when there were concerns brought to their attention, there wasn't really much done about it, which was very hurtful, I feel.
That pretty much reflects, I imagine, what happens in other parts of this state, because because schools and administrators lack that experience in being able to address matters of controversy that will naturally arise when individuals who are different for whatever reason from the rest of the community enter the mix. So that's a learning curve that we're all needing to grow into.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, and to some extent this question has been answered, but I'm just going to pursue it a little bit more. Have you ever been in communities where you were in fact the majority?
I'll go. There has been very few times, but in the few that I have had, there was the Outright GSA, which Outright is a organization that supports queer youth. That is one of them, and the other one is my experience at the Governor's Institute of Vermont. I went to the arts program, and that was, I feel like, the most supportive experience I've ever had in my entire life. And it was really eye-opening because for once I wasn't in the minority of people there. Like I felt like the people around me understood what I was going through, and even if they couldn't like relate with me super directly because of differences in experience, I felt like every person there still respected me for like who I am and what my identity was.
Yeah.
So that was a really powerful experience, and it was really different from anything else I've ever experienced.
Great. Others?
For myself, I'm going to have to say, I think for myself, I'm gonna say there was a get-together kind of in like Montpelier, I think.
Yeah.
The reconciliation of the truth or something like that.
Truth and reconciliation.
Truth and reconciliation.
Yeah.
Yes. And that point when I went, and I'm so glad that I actually went. I met a lot of people there that actually had a lot of insights about a lot of things that I never knew about. And then there was a guy named Rajni Edens.
Poet.
He's a really, really good poet. He's really fun to listen to. He's amazing. When I went there and I heard what he said, it felt like for the first time in forever, or for the first time in a long time, it felt like I was actually being heard and actually being like it felt like he was directly speaking to me about what happens in my life and what happens in his life. And it felt like, oh, wow. It actually made me cry, because it cry and joy of tears, because it actually felt inspiring. It felt amazing to hear another Black individual talk about what's happened in his life and what's happened in other people's lives, and he's reflecting, and it was just amazing and beautiful what I heard. And then I heard other people there, and it's just amazing. I think that was one of the best days I've ever had in my whole entire life, and it made me want to get up and actually do something, and it wanted me to make. It felt like all my problems went away, and it felt like I could change the world just like he is.
I hope Rodney Edens is listening to this.
Oh, I hope so too.
He deserves a promo.
Oh, he does. Oh, he does.
Others. Marissa, you
I
haven't?
haven't been on any personal like parades or anything like out here, but I went on an MLK walk in Texas, and that was pretty cool. It was. I forgot what we were walking. I know it's from Martin Luther King, but I forgot what else we were walking for. It was some other right thing out there, but that's pretty cool. They didn't have much of them out there, but it was rare to have those type of walks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was cool to have that one to go to.
And just to give you another shout out, there's an organization I represent called Vermont Racial Justice Alliance. It's based in Burlington, but it has connections and influence, and that's why it's called an alliance throughout the state. And since last year, they'll probably do it again this year, they've taken groups of mostly African Americans, but also people of other ethnic and racial communities, to a tour of important civil rights locations, Washington, D.C., and various places in the South, which, if any of you wish to be a part of, I will be glad to connect you with the organization and to the coordinators, because, in fact, the Vermont Racial Justice Alliance is one of the sponsoring groups of this interview. So be glad to connect you in that way if you need to be connected. The reason I asked this question is that my kids mostly grew up in this state. They came to this state when I came here in '98. So they've been here at least 25 years. And one year I decided to take two of my kids south, because one of them wanted to be a part of this space program in Huntsville, Alabama. And so I thought, let's do that. Let's take him to Huntsville, and in the process, the other child can visit relatives of mine in Alabama. Well, when we made our stop at a restaurant in Huntsville, Alabama, I noticed that my oldest child was rather uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. And when I asked him why, he said, I had never been around so many black people before. And so experiencing a place where he was in fact in the majority, because he had lived most of his life as a person of color in predominantly white settings, it was rather intimidating for him, very uncomfortable for him. And he remembers that, and I think that was one of the reasons when I served a church in Harlem, he came with me. He wanted to see and feel what it's like to be in a predominantly black environment. So that's the reason I asked that question. Yeah. Any other thoughts regarding that question? This is a question I felt I needed to ask. If I don't know what plans you have after high school, what plans do you have after high school? Just share what thoughts you.
I want to open my own business, start my own little business.
Start your own business? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
How about others?
I would like to go to college at some point, probably in the United States, but after that I want to go up to Canada because they have very, very good laws about queer people, which I would like to
Okay.
get the chance to experience.
Marissa? Baby?
I think I'd either like to go to college and work somewhere in like the medical field, or like have my own little coffee shop one day. I think that'd be fun.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Sid?
For me, I've been thinking about this for a long time, actually. I have a lot of plans on my list, but when graduation hits, I need to take some time to think about, I've made it out of high school. I've made it out of one of the year or a couple years that it's been hard for me. But then it's also like exciting and like sad at the same time because there's people there that actually care about my life and I care about their life so much that I can't leave things behind. I have to settle things as in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I would do that, after I do that, I would 100%, I would travel to places that I've never been before. I would travel to families that I know, cousins, and then other relatives. And then after that, I would probably go to college. I'd go somewhere in the United States maybe in Vermont, maybe not, but I'll think about it. But then after college, I think what I would love to do after college and then after that, I would want to build my own house, and then have my own business, and it would be like a DJ business, like a little music setup business. To actually pursue in kind of what we're doing now and help other communities members and help other people listen to music and help them guide them, because in my eyes I feel like music is a way of just focusing and just having fun and doing what you want to do and what you need to do to make things right. That's what I think music is, because I love music. I've been loving music since I was a little kid. My mom got me into music, and she's a great person. And then when I started listening to music, I started to realize that music is like a key. It's a key for other people to endure their selves, and it's a key for other people to guide others and have a good feeling inside of themselves.
So music is definitely in your future somewhere.
Oh, 100%. I'm not leaving music. I can't do that.
Well, the reason I asked that question is that I'm wondering if, given your experience as residents of this state, can you see yourself ever returning to Vermont? If for instance, you decided to pursue a business or create a business for you, can you see that happening in Vermont or what?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, I don't know. I want to do either. Nah, not really. I think this is more for like touring, more like visiting, more of a visiting place. But that's what. Nah, I couldn't do that. I couldn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, I agree with Kenneth. I feel like Vermont is a place for like visiting, and when you're a kid or when you like grow up here, it's a nice time to be here, but then sometimes some people want to move on and enjoy life how it should be for themselves. But for me, I would want to visit I would want to come back here sometime because in Vermont, it was the only place that I grew up in. I love Vermont actually, and it's a place that I know where everything is, and it's a place where I can enjoy myself in peace.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
How about the others?
I would say I might come back and like visit, but I don't see myself here for a prolonged amount of time. I think to do what I want to do in my future, which is art, I want to pursue visual arts. I want to get somewhere bigger, like a city. I want to like really put myself out there, and I feel like in Vermont it's so small. Don't get me wrong, I love Vermont. I think it's gorgeous, but the community I feel like isn't big enough for what I want to do. Like I really want to get out there and like be known and like put my name in the history books.
Mm-hmm. I believe that's going to happen, Connor. How about you, Melissa?
I think I'd come back one day eventually because my sister and nephew are here, so I just want to be able to watch my nephew grow up and stuff, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's some good connections here.
Yeah.
No? If you had your life to live over again, would there be anything different about what you've experienced that you want to keep? Would there be anything that you want to change?
I feel like a lot of the things that I would change are kind of out of my control. Like, I wouldn't change anything about myself. Like, I don't regret how I've lived, and I don't regret the person that I am. I feel like if you would have asked this question a few years ago, I would have given you a list of things I wanted to change about myself. But at this point, I know that the person, like, the choices that I've made have made me into the person I am today, and I love the person that I am today. I think there are so many, I think that there's so many good things about who I am, and I wouldn't change it, honestly. I wouldn't.
Great. Other thoughts?
For me, I'm gonna have to agree with Connor. I wouldn't change anything about myself because of the question that I always ask myself. Not really a question, but a statement. I ask myself, who would you be? Like, who are you, and who are you not? I am me. I am as happy as I can be because I bring joy. I make people happy, and I love doing that for anyone, no matter the cost, because I love bringing people happiness even if they don't have any more happiness to themselves, because that brings me into a little excitement for myself because I can enjoy myself, I can make other people enjoy themselves. And then, like, I wouldn't change anything about my personality and my stuff, because what I went through, I'd do it again. Mm-hmm. Because if I knew what I would turn out to be right now, I'd do it again. Because I am at the happiest point of my life where I can actually be happy, and I can actually help other people be happy and help them find themselves. Mm-hmm. But for other people that have been in my life, for their actions and for what they've done, I would change that because of what they did to me and onto others. But to myself, I wouldn't change a single thing. I'm living the happiest man that I could ever be. You know.
Well, I heard that bell, and I wonder if there's any time
I
constraints
think
that
we
you
should
have.
be fine.
We're good.
Because I have a
Good.
few more questions, and
Yeah.
I don't want to keep you too much longer. I really
You're
appreciate the time that you've given for this. The project learning program, are each of you part of this in some way program here at Randolph? I guess it provides some degree of affirmation about who you are, some degree of security, where you can speak your mind and so on and so forth. Tell me about how this program has been helpful for you.
I can go. First, I'm gonna explain kind of what a PBL is for people who don't know.
Yeah, thank you.
PBL stands for Project-Based Learning. It's basically, it's not a traditional high school class. It's the students are the people who determine what they want to do in the class, and the teachers are basically just there to make sure that they can get that done. So I'm in the Racial Justice PBL, and I've been in the Racial Justice PBL for 4 years now.
Yeah, a little bit more than that. Yeah, like 5, 4.
Yeah, 5 or 4. And I really enjoy the way that it's set up because it's so much more freeing than a traditional high school class where the teacher is in control, what they say is what has to go. Meanwhile, in the PBL, we get a lot more opportunities to go into the community and do the work that we want to do. In racial justice, we go all over the place. We do presentations, we get to go to events, we get to spread stories and information that for people who want that stuff out there but don't really know where to go or have an outlet. So we like to do that.
Great. Other thoughts? Yeah.
For me, I am in. I actually have been in 3 PBLs before, but this year I'm taking 2 PBLs, project-based learning classes. One in racial justice, and another in food systems. And food systems is a class where we take place on any type of subject that the students, as myself, would like to learn about, the school's equity or the school's food policy and stuff like that. And sometimes we would like to go in the kitchen and just cook, but we would learn about what we're cooking about, and then we can cook what we want. And when everyone's cooking in the class is amazing, by the way. But also, what people are doing and now starting to realize is that people really want to do this. People have made pickles themselves, homemade pickles themselves, and they've sold them to other teachers here. People are making aquaponics systems and other systems that are plant-based or water-based or stuff like that. People are making a mushroom farm over there. And it's amazing what people are doing in the class because it feels like, wow, these guys are actually learning and actually doing what they really want to inspire in this school. And then as for myself, I'm working with another partner, but as myself, I am trying to lead the class into doing a composting area for Randolph, or basically for the school, because it's actually legal to compost in Vermont, but this school doesn't compost at all. And I've been doing this for 2 years now, I did it last year, and last year was actually not that bad because it was my first start of doing food systems. But I also started people doing composting. I've started a lot of things. And then this year I'm taking a bigger movement on pushing out the composting plan and making sure that we actually compost in this school, having posters set up, having actual bins that look like composting bins, and having composting bins everywhere around the school that we need. And we have done a lot in the school for
Great.
systems.
I will also say I also took food systems last year, and I just failed to mention that. But they also tackle a lot of food insecurity because we live in a very impoverished
Yes.
area of Vermont.
Yeah.
And last year we really tried to focus on like food shelves, and we set up a like mini food shelf where
Yeah.
the people can put produce that people can just like grab. It's by the Kimball Library, because we live, especially in this town, there is a lot of people who are struggling to put enough food on their plates. So food systems was also about trying to tackle that.
So Randolph Union High School is actually contributing to ways in which people can be fed in this community
Yeah.
and healthy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I would also like to add, last year we had a little survey, I'd say, and it was, I wish I had the paper on me, but it was 70%, it was like a percentage list, and it was like 70% of like 80 or 70% of like all just trash, like just trash not going in like any compost and stuff, going in like everywhere. And like it was like a 20% like 20% of like composting that are actually being composted, and like it's like there was like, I don't know how many pounds it was, but it was like a lot of
It
pounds
was
of trash just
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
just put in the trash can where it shouldn't have been. And that's how this all started, actually looking into this.
Well, the reason I asked this question is that I think similar programs like this should happen in other schools throughout the state, and I hope that this kind of interview will allow that or incite that kind of development of programs. Ken, Marissa, how do you think, if any, project-based learning has helped you?
I think it's helped me form like a lot of great relationships with people, and being able to like go out there and like experience like the real world, like during like a school day and stuff, and like being educated and being taught what it is, and getting to meet all like these great people and stuff. And even I'm in the racial justice PBO, and like even being in that class, I think our whole class is like really like bonded together, and we all like really enjoy being each other's company. And I know all of us can agree like that class of the day is all of our favorite class, because we just get to like be ourselves and be open and be free and just be who we are. So yeah.
Great. Ken, do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, when I grew up, I sat in the classroom for 8 hours, and I can't sit down for that long. I don't like sitting down. And when I came out here and seen that they had this, I was like, shoot, I'm doing it. Like it's freedom. You can actually move around, do stuff, do what you want, and find what you like to do and what you want to do for your future, which I found was pretty cool. I like that.
Well, yeah, great. Well, Xavier, Ken, Connor, Marissa, thank you for agreeing to participate in this interview.
Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity.
Well, it is my privilege, and I'm hoping, and I suspect that a lot of people who see this will have, hopefully, their minds and heart and everything else about them expanded as a result of this interview. So it's been a privilege to be with you, and I want to thank them for being here and participating in this program. I also want to thank the project-based learning program of Randolph Union High School. I'm sure there are other similar kinds of program at high schools throughout the state, but if there isn't, we need more programs like this. And finally, I want to thank the folks at ORCA, the Onion River Community Access Media Channel, for broadcasting this event. Next time around, at our next program in February, we will begin a two-part session on the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, and we will address that topic from the perspective of Palestinian and Jewish Vermonters, how they feel about what's going on in Palestine and how it affects our life here in Vermont. So I hope you will tune in to those broadcasts. And finally, I want to thank you for joining me and these amazing students. And until next time, be safe, be well, and be blessed. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.
Let's talk.
About our hopes and dreams, beyond the reach it seems.
Let's talk.
Confess I live in hell. I failed to fall in scheme. Maybe we can find a pathway forward or a clue. So we may together be a symbiotic harmony, where I can talk to you, you can talk to me.
Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk.